Good evening.
Kim?
Oh, wait, let's wait for Kim.
I'm sorry.
No.
All set.
Great. It being 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Can I have an acceptance of the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Before we start the walk-in period, and before I introduce a new member of the board, I just want to say it's a little bit of a different feeling tonight. There's clearly something missing, and those few of you that are watching at home know that there's a face that isn't on the board anymore, and he will be missed, and he's still around. He's not dead, and he's still available for stuff, but it is certainly different for the 18 years that you've been doing it.
That's
and,
correct.
7 or so that you guys have. So it's a different dynamic here, and it was a different week not getting that phone call and that check-in. But Joe, if you're watching, we're thinking of you. And now on to new stuff. I'd like to congratulate and introduce Marty O'Toole to the board. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Thank you.
You'll pick it up as we go along. If you have any questions, slow us down, and go from there. Any other comments before we jump in? Great, so...
30 years to go, Marty.
Shoes to fill.
So walk-ins, are there any walk-ins here this evening? Yes, sir.
Norman Duffy, 73 Elm Street.
Mr. Duffy, could you come up to the table where the mic is, sir? Thank you. That way people can hear you on TV.
Norman Duffy, 73 Elm Street, retired fire captain, Scituate. I want to know why we're not running the second ambulance.
Well, that unfortunately is not on our agenda tonight, so we can't get into great details on that. But I will tell you that it's being looked into, and that there's a lot of stuff going on with the fire department in terms of staffing and in terms of budgeting, and it is all being considered and looked into right now. That's not something we're prepared to talk to about tonight, and it's because it's not on the agenda. But I will assure you that there are discussions going on regarding that.
Is it going to be on an agenda at some point?
Well, I know that there's stuff going on in the background that are, research and stuff that's going on, and it will be addressed at some point in time, yes.
But you don't have a time frame.
We
No.
can have the chief contact him to tell him why,
Okay.
if you like. You can have Chief Judd contact Chief.
So come next week, come in 2 weeks, or?
I can have him call you tomorrow, sir, if you like.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can, you know how to reach him as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do.
But
I do.
just to know, it is an item that's being worked on. There's no answer for it yet, but it is an issue that's being addressed by the town.
I just want to throw something out. I don't understand why it pays for itself, and why it isn't being run, I don't know.
I wish it was that
Thank you.
simple, but thank you. I think that gentleman in the back had his hand up.
Stephen Tooker at 397 Tilden Road, and I'm here to represent the neighborhood surrounding 361 Tilden Road, where there is a proposal by AT&T to erect a cell tower. And what we're basically doing is trying to solicit the board's support in rejecting the AT&T proposal as currently constituted. It's just wrong on many counts. Town meeting in 2010, I think it was, might have been 2009 or 2011, I'm not sure, very clearly stated that they wanted a cell tower to be on public land so that the town would derive income from it, that it wouldn't be private annuity, essentially. Moreover, the Massachusetts Historical Commission reviewed the proposal submitted by AT&T 2010, which is essentially the same proposal now, except that they are now proposing to make the monopole tower look like a 150-foot tall plastic pine tree. That's the chief difference. And the Massachusetts Historical Commission said that the neighborhood surrounding 361 Tilden Road was eligible for listing in the National Historic Register of Historic Districts. They identified, there have been several houses already identified there as being worthy of that recognition, and the Historical Commission felt that that plan would adversely affect that whole area and thus Scituate. I could go on many other reasons it's wrong, but I won't bore you with this. I don't think this is the place to do that. I do want to say that there are alternatives, and I think that the board, the selectmen would find, and the zoning board of appeals would find that there's an enormous amount of support in the people in that area for what's called a distributed antenna system, a DAS system. If you read the current AT&T proposal, which I did this afternoon, you'll find that they discount that possibility. They say it wouldn't work because of tree canopy. On the other hand, if you go to the AT&T website, and I believe Robin Glazier has sent to you a link to that website, you'll find that AT&T is currently touting a DAS, or distributed antenna system, for Palo Alto, California, because of tree canopy and topography. And by the way, I should mention that several years ago, when they brought this to the Zoning Board of Appeals, they claimed that DAS wouldn't work here because of topography. So if you go to their website now, you'll find that for the very reasons they're saying it's not worthy in Scituate, it is worthy in Palo Alto. And the thing that they do say that really bothered me is that Palo Alto is a sophisticated community worthy of state-of-the-art technology. Well, isn't Scituate worthy of that as well? So we're asking for your support in trying to help AT&T come up with a better proposal to provide cell coverage in the town of Scituate.
Okay. I'll answer a little bit, then pass along to anyone else that want to talk. Just, and we can't, again, we can't talk about this because it's not on the agenda, but just some historical information on it. The town did pass a bylaw, all of us passed a bylaw 3 or 4 years ago that actually made that technology usable in the town. So the town does support that technology.
Great.
We've got all the emails. I see all of us CC'd on it, and we hear you. Unfortunately, it's not in this board's agenda right now, or not in this board's arena right now. It's in the Zoning Board of Appeals. We went through this a couple years ago. They withdrew the permit in terms of public land. They picked a few pieces of public land that they would choose to put it on, and there were people here. One of them was at a school, and the town and the board chose not to put it there, and their resort is to go to where they are right now. But the next fight, and I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I think all of us, I know we all support the DAS technology, is going to be at the zoning board.
Okay, can I add just one other thing? That when, if I'm recalling correctly, when AT&T sent its initial letter to Mr. Duggan, I think it was probably in 2009, might have been 2010, they identified a whole series of properties that were likely candidates, public parcels of land. I mean, there are other parcels that are possible, and although we support the DAS technology primarily, there are other options available. AT&T claims this is the only reasonable option at present, and I dissent from that view.
Right, and that debate will go on there. As I remember, though, there were, I think, 3 parcels that we kind of put out to them, and they came, I mean, they hold the cards, and they came back to us and said this is the only one that would work for them.
They may hold fewer of the cards than you think if you look at the rulings in other districts. They certainly act as though they hold the cards, and we can cave to that or not.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's caving, but I'll open up to other board members if you want to.
John, you're zoning.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Tooker?
That's correct.
Mr. Tooker. Yeah, this is an issue that the Zoning Board of Appeals will thoroughly vet at its hearing, and any options, I can tell you right now, all the members on the board are experienced, including the chairman who's had experience dealing with cell towers. So the town's well represented in that capacity. It's not going to be a one meeting and done. It's going to be dealt with. I think the board and probably everybody here in this room, and including the town, would prefer the DAS system. That's the reason why we passed it at town meeting. And as I'm sure from your research, and people have to understand that AT&T is utilizing federal law that preempts state law as well as the local zoning laws. So that's the predicament that we're up against, but you're correct. If there are methods or mechanisms that the Zoning Board of Appeal can elicit and or other options, it will do that. This board can come out and say, we certainly would support the DAS system. I don't think it's well within this board to come out and say it should be placed somewhere else or not, because that's an issue that the zoning board has to address. But I can tell you right now, I certainly support it, and I think everybody else in this board does. So you're with us. The zoning board is wonderful. They're going to do a very thorough job, as they have in the past, and I would say to all the members and of your neighborhood and neighbors, make sure you go to the meetings, make sure that maybe there are other issues that can be raised. It's extremely helpful to the zoning board, so, and I will
And
certainly
that will
attend.
be happening.
Yeah, good.
And there's one other thing to be
What's that?
aware of. I'm sorry.
Mr. Murray?
Yeah, just for the record, I mean, John and Tony have said it, but I completely support a DAS system 100%. And let's let zoning go through it, and if it comes around, then that's where I am, and I think everybody else is, but keep it up.
There is also a competing federal statute that isn't not often paid attention to. It's the 1966 Historical Preservations Act, and it often bumps up against the 1996 Federal Communications Act. So just worth keeping that in mind.
Thank you.
Mr.
I
Harris?
was just going to say that the town, I spoke to the town administrator earlier today, and she has contacted some of the towns that have this in place now without too much luck. Hasn't got any responses back, am I correct? Other than some towns, they own their poles, we don't. There's a big difference right there.
We've done a lot of research on it, and I think the board will be discussing it more in depth probably sooner than later.
Great.
The challenge is we have to do what's permissible in Massachusetts, and it seems most of the Massachusetts towns that have them right now, at least, are communities where they own their own electric light department and they own the poles, so they were able to initiate it themselves without doing a request for proposal. So, but we're learning more every day, and I suspect the board will be having a much more in-depth discussion fairly
Great,
soon.
and that's the direction the neighborhood,
Yep.
neighborhoods,
Absolutely.
it's not
Yep.
just one, are hoping you'll go.
Yeah, we've done a lot
Okay,
of
great.
work, and we have more to do, but we're definitely, as Selectman Murray said, think that it's something that could be very viable here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Yes, sir.
My name is William McNally, 34 Seaview Ave, here in town. Would it be permissible for me to take a picture of the Board of Selectmen?
I guess. What do you want to do with it?
What at the
Throw
end of,
darts at it,
what at
or-
the end of the meeting? How about the end of the meeting, Tony, after
I
the
follow
future
it,
agenda?
Martin O'Toole,
Oh, okay.
ever since he started. And I took pictures. And now that he's attained what he wanted, and I would like to have him sitting there and take a picture of the whole board.
Already slowing us down.
Come on, second meeting in a row, you know what to do.
Do you want to
Yes,
take one
sir.
at the end? I think
you
the
together.
Mariner,
I can take it around the end of the meeting.
the Mariner wants to take one at the end of the meeting, so would it be okay if
Well,
you
then you
wait
have
till
to
the
make
end?
them sit through the.
Right.
Okay, sure.
You might want to stay anyway.
I got this.
Move in, Marty. Marty, you want the middle seat?
No,
Go right to chairman.
All right.
That's great. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
No problem at all.
If you want to see it, in case you say, well, I had my mouth open or something like that, tell me and I'll take another. Okay? Thank you very much.
No problem. Are there any other walk-ins?
You only said that to the Italian guy, Tony.
Great. Seeing no other walk-ins, we'll move on to item number 3, which is a discussion vote for a drain layers license.
Motion?
Is the person here, or?
Am I the only one?
You are.
Okay, all right.
Have a seat. Give us your name.
My name is Joseph Aiello, representing Aiello Trucking. We're out of Holbrook, Mass. It's originally my father's company. He started mid-'70s, and we work together still. Property address is 38 Gilson Road. Contractor I've worked for about 15 years now. He demoed a house, and he's putting a new house up there. And I need my license so that we can install a new sewer and a new water line to the property.
Any questions?
Just, Mr. Aiello, right?
Aiello, yeah.
I noticed in your application, you have workers' comp and affidavit. The dates have kind of gone past. I assume, have they been updated?
Yeah, I mean, I can call them tomorrow and they can update that. I think if I recall, the workers' comp ended at the end of April.
Yeah, April 11th. I think
Yeah.
the other one's April 1st.
Nope, that's been renewed, and I can
That's all.
get that.
Just for purposes of the
Yep.
town, okay.
You just send it to Kim.
Motion?
Please.
Move the Board of Selectmen vote to grant a drain layers license to Aiello Trucking and Excavating, Holbrook, Mass.
Second?
Second by Mr. Danny. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck. Item number 4 is a proclamation. From the Water Resource Committee.
Good evening.
Clarkson, how are you?
Great. Good to see you all.
Jim, how are you?
Welcome to Water Week. Hug your local water supplier. The Water Resources Committee, in conjunction with the Scituate Water Department, is during this week celebrating Water Week. We have a number of events and activities scheduled for folks in the community to help raise their awareness of the importance of water for public health, public safety, as well as economic development. And we've provided you a proclamation hoping that you could join our bandwagon and declare your support of water as an important resource. If you have any questions about Water Week or any of the activities, I'd be happy to answer them for you, but I must take advantage of the camera and the microphone to invite the town to the Water Department on Saturday morning from 9 to 12 for Family Day. And if there are any high school students out there looking to earn some community service hours, we still need a couple of volunteers, and if they ask around, they'll find out how to reach me. Go down to your guidance office or check with your science department. You'll find out how to reach me, and we'll earn some community service hours for our students as well.
Right. And when you say the water plant, not the sewer plant, you want on
Water treatment.
Bucket right across from Greenbush.
Water treatment facility near the Greenbush Rotary, yes.
The input, not the output.
Yes.
The date again, this Saturday, John?
This Saturday is Family Day at the Water Treatment Center from 9 to 12, yes. We'll have fun and games and education and popcorn.
Free water.
You can run your sprinklers for free.
And then, oh yes, and I'm reminded, by the way, I have Martha Cook, also of the Water Resources Committee, to my right. Jim DeBarris, our wonderful and capable and just a delight to work with, manager of our water system. On Thursday night at the Harbor Community Center, for those of you who have been in town a couple of years like myself, you might better know that as what used to be Pier 44. We're going to have a discussion of a town-wide water conservation plan. And you're welcome to come down and talk about things we can do to make sure we are adequately and properly protecting our water resources. That's going to be from 7:30 till whenever. Will probably be the first of what's likely to be 2 or 3 meetings. The development of a water conservation plan is something that this community has to do as part of its Water Management Act permit renewal, which is coming up in 2014. So the Water Resources Committee is happy to help the Water Department in the development of that plan. And rather than just sit down and write it in a dark room on our own, we'd really much rather have the input of the citizens of the town in helping create that plan.
Great. So are there any other key events that you want to plug right now? We got the Thursday night discussion about water water conservation, and then Saturday at the plant from 9 to 12 in the morning.
Well, now that you asked, if you're a member of the Rotary Club, be sure to go to your meeting tomorrow night, because I'll be doing a presentation for the Rotarians at their meeting on what the demand for water will be across the South Shore in the year 2035. That's a barn burner, huh? I actually spent the last year, I've projected out for virtually every one of our 351 communities across the state what their water use projections will be in the year 2035. Developed a model in conjunction with a young lady who interned for me last summer from Cornell University, and it's a pretty reliable model, and it'll be interesting for people who are in Scituate to see what our water demand will be 20 whatever years from now.
Great.
Thank you
Do
for
we want to
asking.
read, do you want us to read the proclamation if we,
However you feel it best.
who's the clerk?
Typically the new guy.
Marty,
Give it to the new
No,
guy.
that's all right.
Marty, we're breaking in.
I'll do it.
Here, hand
This
it.
my, no, I'll do it.
No, this,
Is it this one?
no,
Nope,
that
nope,
one.
this one.
Just be glad it's not Arbor Day, because it's almost 2 pages on Arbor Day.
Town of
Oh, yeah.
Scituate Board of Selectmen, whereas for more than 35 years, people throughout the nation have celebrated Drinking Water Week, recognizing a unique opportunity for both water professionals and the communities they serve to join together to recognize the role water plays in our daily lives. Whereas the town of Scituate values its precious and limited water resources. Whereas the town recognizes water's critical role in ecological health as well as economic development. Whereas the Scituate Department of Public Works has been awarded the North and South River Watershed Association's coveted Barbara Pearson Award in recognition of their efforts to restore stream flow and herring habitat to the first herring brook. Whereas the town of Scituate remains committed to preserving and protecting the quality of our vital water resources, the Scituate Board of Selectmen hereby proclaims May 5th through May 11th to be Drinking Water Week and urge all citizens of Scituate to increase their awareness of the importance, fragility, and irreplaceable value of our vital water resources. Signed this 7th day of May 2013, Town of Scituate Board of Selectmen.
Right? So proclaimed.
Thank you
Thank you, guys.
very much.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.
John, thanks, Jimmy, for the good job you do every day.
On my wall.
Look forward to seeing you at our many wonderful Water Week events.
Great. Thank you, guys. Move on to item number 5, which is a discussion and vote for a special event permit, Heritage Days. Nico,
Good evening, guys.
how are you?
Good. So I'm here tonight to discuss Heritage Days 2013, hopefully get a vote for approval of the event for
So
this.
just to
evening.
clarify, you're here for from the chamber?
I'm here for the Chamber, speaking as the President of the Chamber of Commerce. Yep. And so I'm here to hopefully gain support and approval for the annual Heritage Days event, which is always the first weekend in August. There are essentially no changes. We're asking for one minor change this year. Otherwise, the application is essentially the same as it has been the last 2 years, I believe. The Heritage Days Festival, which is sort of the fair, if you will, is again in conjunction with the music festival that will be put on the same 2 days in August. The only change that we're really asking for this year is to allow for the food vendors that have vendors licenses for those evenings to be able to stay until after the music ends, so that as people are leaving the venue, they can grab a bite to eat on their way out. Therefore encouraging people to stay longer for the music, allowing them to make sure that they can grab something and basically allow for the vendors to hopefully make a little bit more money, which draws more vendors in and provides a better atmosphere, and also to provide benefit to the townspeople who are there to enjoy the show. Otherwise, it's essentially the same.
Anyone want to talk about the change?
Just a quick question, Nico, what are you looking for when you say that you're looking to keep the food vendors? If it ends at 8 PM, is that what the music's ending for both nights, or?
So we're looking to have them be able to serve until 1 hour after music stops.
Okay, so the
So
music
the-
right now for Saturday night ends at what time?
I believe it's 8 o'clock, and we'd be
So
looking
till
to have
9.
food
No,
vendors.
it's earlier than that.
We should be done 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I thought it was 6.
Okay, okay.
What does the application say?
I think we have it.
So ultimately, what's the time that you're looking?
That everything will be breaking down by 9 PM, and that's just cushion time. We've never really, said exactly when the music's gonna end, but we always had a time when we were gonna be done. So it says 9 PM. And that's just to,
Is that for both nights or just
Yes.
Saturday night? Okay.
So-
that's just cushion time though, because
So the
if something
vendors,
goes wrong,
when do the vendors have to be gone? By 9 also, right?
At the latest.
Yes.
So there shouldn't be an issue keeping it the way it was, right? If the music stops around 6, they really have 2 extra, 3 extra hours that they could sell the stuff,
I
right?
believe that the previous way it was done was that the vendors actually broke down all at the same time. And so the food vendors were sort of classified under the same rules as all the other vendors, the craftsmen, et cetera, and they actually break down before the music stops. And so we basically want the food to be able to stick around, and there's, how many carts would you say there are? 5, 6 food carts of different types. And we'd like them to be able to stay where they are and stay open until the music's over, so that as people are wandering around listening to music, by then, all the shops and carts are already shut down for Saturday night and gone on Sunday. So we'd like them to be able to be there until after the music's gone, so as people are wandering out, they can get a snack.
Mr. Murray?
I'm just still confused. I get it. I'm fine with the food people being there till after the music, but as Tony just said, and Jerry just said, music is done at 6 or 7, and the carts are broken down at 9. So
Which
you
is-
already have that.
Right,
So why do we need to change anything?
that's
I
true.
suppose we're clarifying to make sure that everybody's okay with it, because in the past, they haven't been open that late. They've been gone at 4 or 5 o'clock when the crafts people are all shutting down their tents for the day.
And I understand this is I completely also understand that you need to get this approval now for planning purposes, but we don't have the application in front of us, so I just wanted to make sure that if the application's just, you know,
clarify one
if it just
thing,
says everything will be there till 9, then fine.
So you have, your setup time is 6 AM, but then the breakdown time's 9 PM. That's what's on your application. So what you're saying is if the music ends at 9, your breakdown time might be extended till 10?
I'm asking for a maximum of 9 PM, period.
Okay,
everything.
so everything's done
Clarify.
at 9,
Right.
and that's on your app. So as far as everybody's review goes, I think it's
I suppose we just want to
fine.
be clear and
Yeah.
make sure it's all, because traditionally it's been earlier, so rather
So
than
the
be
food,
surprised.
well, it's good the way you set it up, because
Yeah.
you literally put the food right next to the
Right.
music.
To the music.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
So,
Correct.
you know, if all the people on Front Street break down, and if all the people going
That will
down
be
towards the
clear.
bank, you know, keeping that, it's a natural spot for the food to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure also to cover you. Does it say anywhere in here what the music time is?
It's not specified, it's simply specified that we have to be done at
What
9
time
o'clock.
we're done.
Okay,
Everything has to be cleaned up by 9, is basically.
Correct.
Says their breakdown is
Okay.
by 9, so I'm
Correct.
okay.
and they're obviously not going to be playing right up till the time they have to stop, because they have to
Right.
break it down.
That's
Thank you.
right.
Correct,
I-
which
I'm
is again
totally
why
fine
we just
with
wanted to
it.
make sure that we're
Yeah,
clear.
thank you.
So as long as everything's done by 9, you're good to go.
Okay. There's one other thing I wanted to bring up to the board, and
Anyone,
No,
any thoughts on that, or
Not just the second.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I wanted to bring up another thing to the board about Heritage Days in a general way. It does not pertain to this year's event. So in terms of the vote tonight, where we're looking for approval of the event, it doesn't specifically pertain to that, so I could do it now or after that. But we've had a discussion at the Chamber of Commerce of having an overnight event. It was brought up a number of years ago. It was looked on sort of favorably at that time, from what I understand from the history of the board. It was not finished and finalized, it was not done, it was not executed. We brought up the conversation about having an overnight stay on certain parts of the event so that the event could stay open later at night, so that breakdown didn't have to happen, and then set up again on Sunday didn't have to happen for the vendors and carts, which is a headache in a number of ways for both the police and for the vendors themselves. It costs more to do it, et cetera. And then the obvious fact that with hours being extended, it makes it easier logistically to get more people in and out, to have more variety of things happen during the event. To specify again, we're not asking for any of that this year.
Let me make sure if I understand what you're saying. What you're suggesting is the people on Front Street leave their booths up overnight, and Front Street be closed,
Not necessarily.
or on the backside?
Mainly on the backside is sort of the way we're leaning right now. But what we're specifically asking is that what I'd like to do over the next few months is to collect a number of questions from the Board of Selectmen, different departments of the town, the police, the fire, et cetera. Really clarify any questions the businesses may have, the residents may have. In the past, there have been antagonistic feelings of different kinds over different portions of the event, and we want to avoid that. So before we come to the board and ask for a major change like that, which is significant, we'd like to essentially bring it up now with a few months to go, so we can put together a list of questions that we need to answer this year. And obviously, the best time to do that is on the ground in August, so that if we have a list of questions, for example, what's the traffic like at 7 PM when the Front Street opens up? Is it heavy? Is it light? What's the parking situation like in the back? What's the parking situation like at the church? Those types of questions, obviously there'll be quite a variety of them. What are the concerns of the merchants as the evening starts to wind down or get longer? What would be the concerns if it became a longer evening? We'd like to have those questions. We'd like to gain the answers to those questions and have a specific list so that we can address all those concerns out front. And that way, after the event's finished this year, we can come back to the board, we can present that in an organized fashion and have a really good discussion about it, so that it's not a surprise when we come back in October and say, next year we'd like to think hard about having Cole Parkway open all night and having overnight security, or having Front Street open all night. At this time, I'll say as the president, I don't anticipate asking for the whole event to be open overnight. The emergency services situation with the fire chief and the police chief seems to be a very onerous restriction on Front Street overnight. But the point is, we'd like to have a list of solid questions to answer from a number of different directions so that we can have a good conversation about it and not feel like we're surprising anybody with those kinds of requests.
Right?
So.
Just one quick, from my opinion, it would be great if you gave us a document that said what the benefits of doing that are, so that we can actually see what that is. And then you have a procedure you go through to get the event. I would say go talk to every one of those people that you have to talk to and get their feedback. And then give us all that information so we can digest it. Then we can probably have a more concise conversation. I don't know, and
The only two or three things that came to my mind, Nico, were one is certainly public safety for fire and police, Front Street, also Cole Parkway, being able to gain access to the Mill Wharf area. Parking's going to be an issue, certainly with the boating and trying to do that for that period of time. So those are kind of some of the, and of course the merchants, to touch base with them to figure that out. But those are kind of the things that I think the board would want to hear about.
Mr. Murray?
Yeah, I'd be very interested. I assume the chamber would back it, so I don't need a letter from the chamber. But any of the other merchants as well, definitely from the merchants first and foremost, because we hear conflicting things. Some merchants love it, some merchants hate it. This would be a new ball game. And also, I'd like to see a letter from the residents in the area, maybe the condo association on the condo side of the street, and then also, I don't know if there's a neighborhood association up on the hill, but just the people that live there. Obviously, even though the main goal would be just to help on minimizing breakdown and setup and all that stuff, it would definitely be louder later, and there'd be a little more traffic and people there, so I definitely want to hear what the residents would say, as well as the businesses.
I don't think the three of you missed anything, starting with what Tony said, and you're doing it now, starting the legwork, laying the foundation now. And Rick, right up to the end, raised a good point by asking the residents, because in the years past, there've been a couple here that I don't think they're here tonight, but I don't think you guys left anything out.
And, again, you'd have to convince us of what, people are gonna be against it, whether it's to this degree or this degree. So you gotta explain to us why we would even consider doing it. To save the guy selling his prints a half-hour setup, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Great. So do we need a motion for the, this year's event?
Kim?
I'm sorry, yeah.
I just want to make sure that the applicant is aware of the, and they haven't seen them yet, the police comments, the summary that was given to you. Do you have the summary?
I don't see it, but I do now.
It's in your new stack. Well, I was...
Board of Health, excuse me for interrupting. And Board of Health, those two specifically, I just want to make sure while the chamber is here that they understand the parameters of those.
Nico, have you seen this?
No, I don't believe we have.
Sure.
Why don't I read it? I'll read the comments from the police department. Music festival area, same as 2012. I think that's working out fine. Is that still working out fine, Jerry? Good. All streets cleared and open by 8 p.m. with the exception of music festival area on Friday and Saturday. Music must end by 8 p.m. Sidewalk south side of music area must be kept clear at all times. Recommend satellite parking and transportation from one area, the Greenbush T lot, subject to MBTA approval. Parking area used for amusement rides must be kept to a minimum. Applicant must be responsible for supplemental signage needed to control parking and for all police department expenses related to the event. Number of details to be determined by Scituate Police Department. Applicant to provide sufficient advance notice via media and signboard as to limited parking in the harbor area and availability of satellite parking and all transportation. All materials and benches used to construct the music area must be removed from the area by 12 noon on Monday. Sidewalk traffic sight distance may not be obstructed by store materials. Music festival area entrance to Cole Parkway must be closed after 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Due to recent incidents of size of this event, it may be necessary to consider additional security measures. Any?
I don't believe that's any different than we've seen in the past. Jerry, do you see any changes?
What does that last line mean there?
Yeah, I want to read that one again. Music festival area entrance to Cole Parkway may be closed after 6 PM on Wednesday.
He asked,
That's what I was
the
wondering.
last 2 years, he opened, he
We
closed
closed
it
that
up
at
in the
approximately 1
afternoon.
o'clock in the afternoon.
On,
On the Wednesday, the last 2 years.
so they're saying
That's
6.
what was in here, yeah, so good to know.
Was there a problem in the past with one of the restaurants for closing it too prematurely? I don't want to say prematurely, but closing it earlier? I thought there was,
Are we talking about the, right by Rivas?
right by Rivas.
Yeah.
So you close that little stretch of land,
Close the street at
One.
sometime between 12 and 1 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. We start transporting materials over there.
Okay.
I have the construction crew that comes in on Wednesday night. We build the stage Wednesday night, and then the next 2 evenings, we finish off doing all the
Electric.
barriers and the parameters and signage and things like that.
so is 6 o'clock gonna work for you?
No.
No.
I mean, again, the street needs to be closed at about 1 o'clock, so we have 4 or 5 hours to move all the preliminary things over there, so we can start construction at 6 o'clock.
Does anyone know why the police?
The issue that John raised was, the issue was with Riva, and the only thing that they had a problem with is that they had thought it was going to close around 6 o'clock. As long as they were notified, they're okay, because they had deliveries coming in, and there was an issue.
We have Viva this year too.
Yeah.
And Jay, the past couple of years, have been using that restaurant as a distribution point for his other restaurants.
Right.
And so he was taking materials out of there. That's not gonna be the issue this year.
Right, yeah, they just said as long as they know what the plan is, so they can make make sure the deliveries are in there.
But there's still access for a trailer truck to make deliveries.
So how do you want to handle this? The police say they want it at 6, and Jerry says he wants it at 1.
So just for clarification, so that was the issue in the past, right?
Yes.
So why don't we do this? Nico, as president of the chamber, can you ensure us that, you know what, somebody from the chamber, Jerry or the committee can go to Rivas and make sure that that's not a problem? And obviously, if it's a problem, then it's going to be a problem next year, is what I would suggest to the board, so.
Now, the only thing I'd want to do is make sure that's why the police chief put that in there. So
Maybe we could
Tricia,
have Tricia check.
Tricia, can you just check with Brian and see why they wanted 6 instead of 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly on the application, and was it 1 o'clock you started the last 2 years, or more like 2 or 3, Jerry?
We closed the street at 12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere in that ballpark. And that was on our application.
Well, your application says in the afternoon.
In the afternoon,
Yeah.
It doesn't say 1 o'clock.
right.
So
Gotta specify.
clearly, I mean, I don't think I think, we can certainly do something earlier than 6. In the afternoon, sort of, 1 o'clock's the first time we're hearing that. But if Rivas is okay with it, I mean, I'm happy to speak with the chief. I just don't know if 2 o'clock you can live with, then 2's good. And I'm happy to support that on behalf of the chief, if you can live with that.
Well, 1 would be better.
Well, why don't we do that?
And the
Only-
motion says, just for Jerry and you guys, always at the end of these motions, it says, as per conditions set by town departments and town administrator, which gives you room for this conversation
Right,
to
so
to
if
be
I can,
factored
if I
in.
can suggest, can we vote assuming a 1 PM closing of the road no earlier than 1 o'clock to be confirmed by the town administrator and myself on behalf of the chamber, making sure we speak to Riva and any other conditions that might be needed to be set based on the police chief's recollection of last year's situation?
The only other question I had about the timing was the start of this comment from the police says all streets cleared and open by 8 PM, and it sounds like you would be, but earlier this evening, we were talking about 9 PM. I just want to make sure we're crossing our Ts, dotting our Is. I don't have a horse in this race, but I want to make sure we're consistent.
I don't think the 9 o'clock makes a difference. I think I'm fine with the 9.
Okay.
Okay. We're fine with the 9, Jerry. You got what you want, so just be quiet.
Okay.
So-
You got the 9, so.
So, I mean, that's really,
Okay.
I'm fine with the 9 is 9, so
Went
the police
ahead.
department doesn't have to tell you 9:15 it was 9. We should be good, and you can do the 1, and I'll talk to the chief, and we can talk Nico. I think it
Great.
will be fine.
That's fine. On the other note, though, the health department, simply, she was talking about needing to have vendors' applications 2 weeks prior. That shouldn't be a problem. We'll have that squared away.
And a location map.
Kim was mentioning that.
Yeah.
So that won't be a problem.
Jerry, did you have anything else?
I was just gonna explain where the 9 came from.
We got the 9 o'clock, we're really happy with
Yes,
it.
yeah. Okay, so why don't we have a motion, we just make a contingent on
Well,
those guys ironing out the details.
Will the Board of Selectmen vote to grant a special events permit to the Scituate Chamber of Commerce Heritage Days Committee for August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2013, and per the conditions set by the town departments and town administrator?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. Further discussion?
Just, I think it would behoove the chamber to have all the times as granted by the town in hand in advance, so that everybody understands this is the timing, so that the police department, everybody's working together on it. That's all.
I think it's gone great the last
Yeah,
couple of years.
cheat sheet. Yep.
Jerry, who are you gonna have come? Is that a secret too?
It's only a secret because I really haven't got any confirmations on the national acts. Some of the local New England bands like the Fools and Tony and Washington.
Steven Tyler.
We're negotiating.
Hey, get that Michelle Shamwellian, or Shamwell from The Voice, Jerry.
All right.
I'll leave you in charge of that.
She's from Wellesley.
He'll get
She's
right
from
to it.
Wellesley. There you go.
We got a
local.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Good luck,
Thank you very
guys.
much, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
Item number 6, reorganization, Board of Selectmen. We have to do the chairman, the vice chairman, and the clerk.
Nominate,
I will accept any nominations.
nominate Sean Harris as chairman of the Board of Selectmen for the town of
Second.
Scituate.
Second by Mr. Murray. Discussion?
No, I don't have anything to say.
You don't have anything to
No,
say?
I don't wanna say.
All right.
Thank you.
It's been second.
Well, hasn't been voted, I know.
Don't count your chickens. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nominate Marty O'Toole as clerk of the Board of Selectmen for the
Second.
town of Scituate.
Second by Mr. Harris. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, Mr. O'Toole.
Move Anthony Vignani, vice chair.
Second.
Second by Mr. Danahy. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Mr. Harris.
Arbor Day. Just you wait.
Who's the clerk?
Marty,
Marty's, oh, yeah.
new guy. It's the new guy position.
Agenda.
I disagree.
7. Thanks. We're going to meet a temporary account through the firm of Eric Kinshirf. Is, let's see.
So I would move the Board of Selectmen.
Tricia, is Carol here?
No.
All right, oh, I thought she was. All right.
So I move the Board of Selectmen appoint Carol McMahon, CPA, as interim town accountant.
And
Second.
Second, all those, who's seconding that, John? All those
Yep.
in favor?
Just one, quick, just so people know, the town, Meg, the town accountant has taken another position in Halifax?
Carver.
And we need to fill that position to get the work done, so that's why we're hiring. And this guy's done it before in our last transition, is that correct? No?
Nope.
This is a new,
I mean, there's 2 that do it, and
Right.
he just left Carver.
oh, good. There you go.
What do you know?
Stuff's all mixed up now.
Yeah, so just
All right,
for
well, thank you, Tom.
Barry,
Yeah, so-
this is not like an additional, this is a replacement position.
Right.
So people understand that.
And we're looking to hire a new town accountant currently.
90 days, something like that? Don't know.
6 weeks.
All right, okay. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number.
Need to vote it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor? I
Aye.
thought we did.
Aye.
Opposed?
Unanimous.
Moving on to agenda item number 8, other business. I guess I'll start with you, Rick.
None.
Okay, John?
I actually do, and it's just basically, Ship Shape Day was phenomenal. You know, everybody's got to realize, it seemed like it was like a few weeks ago, it was a week ago, but this town is phenomenal. Going around and seeing the debris that was picked up, the people who were out, what the DPW did and the beautification committee, everybody should be patting themselves on the back. I have to commend everybody. And it makes this town special to see that people care about it. So I just wanted to make that a point and congratulate everybody who participated and helped out.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I was out of town on Saturday, and I called Al, I think Monday. He told me there were 300 bags filled. They were everywhere. That was Great.
And it was so organized. Al's wife Donna was here early in the morning, and you had to sign up for a section, and they gave you bags, and they gave you one color bag for recycles, one's, it's very well run, and they really cover a lot of the town.
I got poison ivy from it, too.
Wow. Anything else, John? Is that it?
No, that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Tony?
And just want to recognize First Night. I think it was a special event. I saw Marty down there. It was a really good turnout. It was a beautiful night. So just remember during the summer that the first Friday of every month is First Night, and all of the retail stores on Front Street stay open later. And there's a ton of people walking around down there. So it's a really good town event. So go to that as well.
How much money did you spend?
We don't need to talk about that.
Is that all?
That's it.
All right. Marty, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. All right. The report from the town administrator. Is there one here, Tricia? I was
No, it's
organized.
verbal.
Now-
It's verbal.
All right.
I
Thank
have
you.
quick 4 items, Mr. Chairman. One is that we appointed a new Assistant Harbor Master, Mike Bierce, former seasonal Assistant Harbor Master for us. We welcome Mike. He started yesterday. The solar array has begun construction. We expect 3 months from soup to nuts and then wait to have it commissioned. So we're very happy and relieved. It's actually started construction. I believe there was an article in the Boston Globe today about the town of Dartmouth. Has the largest solar array in Massachusetts. It is 3 times the size of our 15-acre, 3-megawatt solar array, but it's on a landfill as well. So we're very much looking forward to that, and thank you to Mr. Banger for his work. Third thing is we had a health fair today for employees, benefits and blood pressure, skin screening, planned by the Treasurer Collector's Office, and PM and her staff are really to be congratulated. We had 40, 50 people come through, raffle prizes. It was in this room, believe it or not, and it was just a really great event for our employees to know about the various benefits that they have that we offer. And the fourth and final thing that I want to share with you is that we are issuing some debt later next week on some of the borrowings that we've done at this town meeting and the last town meeting. But most important, what's driving this process in terms of reconciling the interfund balances, that borrowing that you did against the stabilization fund, we have to reconcile those by June 30th, but we'll also be refinancing 2 bonds. And we'll be saving the town over $557,000 over the term for those bonds, and because the interest rate right now is just under 2%. So we want to take advantage. These are all over 4%. I wish I could take credit for it. I only take credit for saying yes. Pam did it all, brought it to my attention, asked our FA to look at it. I mean, we look at this periodically anyway. But the credit is all due to her, and I want to make sure that she is recognized for it. So we'll be working on that. It's about $50,000 a year, a lot of enterprise debt, but some savings to the general fund.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pam.
$50K a year for 10 years?
Yep, I think so, pretty, back of the envelope, yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of money. $500,000.
Is that it, Tricia?
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on to agenda item number 10 is executive session, and we will not be returning into regular session. The reason we're going into executive session tonight is, where are my notes here, Tony? All right, that if we did this in open session, it would be detrimental to the town's position. We'll be litigating the Glen. And like I said, not returning to regular session.
Move the Board of
Yeah,
Selectmen.
the issue's the Glen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yep.
Move the Board of Selectmen vote to enter executive session to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation, because having this discussion in open session may be detrimental to the town's litigation position, otherwise known as the Glen.
Second. And roll call, right, Kim?
Do you want to vote on that?
Oh, I'm sorry, yep, all right. In a second, you said a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Murray?
Aye.
Mr. Dennehy?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Vignani?
Yes.
Mr. O'Toole?
Good night, folks. Thank you.